This video is for all my brothers and sisters out there who are not taking their 20s seriously when it comes to their financial independence or just overall financial stability in life. And, I really want to start this one off with, it's 2025 and to not have some sort of information or knowledge on like a said topic and not being able to do your due diligence and doing research on said topic is just outright laziness in my opinion. Especially with all the ChatGPTs, Grok, everybody seems to have some form of large language model out there that you can use. So to not have the knowledge or to say, I don't know how to do it nowadays it's a pretty shitty excuse. But kind of side rant aside there, I just really want to emphasize the importance of really laying the foundation of, I guess, your financial independence, especially younger in your age, especially in your 20s. For example, like all my guys out there, your value in the marketplace is what you bring to the table as a man. Some people don't want to hear that, but it's just it's the reality. Ladies, like especially like in a romantic relationship, they don't want a broke guy. They don't want a guy who can't hold a job, who doesn't know how to save money, who doesn't know how to invest money, who's not smart with money. I think it goes both ways, especially me. Me being financially responsible, in my opinion. I don't want a girl who doesn't have any savings or doesn't invest, or just kind of wastes all her money on weekends, going out with the girls, going out for drinks and partying and just kind of blowing all her money. So, it definitely goes both ways. I'm not just targeting the guys here. But, I think the overall, topic of the video is, don't waste your 20s, wasting all your money away. Yes, it's perfectly fine and it's acceptable, and I encourage it. I encourage myself. Sometimes I got to put a bigger emphasis on it. Enjoy your 20s. Absolutely. Go out with your friends, go out to dinner, go out to the bar, have a few drinks, do a little bit of traveling, don't go in debt over it and don't waste all your money, but definitely enjoy your 20s because you're only going to be 25 once, you're only going to be 27 once in this lifetime. So definitely enjoy it. I'm not saying not to enjoy it, but definitely be cautious with your money. So if you guys are new here, this is the lunch table. I pretty much ramble about all sorts of life topics. So if I'm your vibe, if we seem to mesh, feel free to take a seat at the lunch table. All right, so I'll get back to the video. But the overall thing I really wanted to hit home in this video is be smart with your money. Put some aside. Like I said, enjoy your 20s, enjoy your 30s, your 40s, whatever. Spend money because you can't take any of it when you die. But just make sure you put some aside for investing or for saving, paying off debts. Like the statistics are crazy around it, which like the percentage of people nowadays, especially younger people who have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in debt, whether it be college loans, like school loans, car loans, possible house. That's not the worst debt. Especially if you're able to kind of handle the mortgage payment there. But my way around it, or the way I like to think, or like my idea of saving, it's obviously a little different for me. I still live at home, so I'm able to invest a lot more. But especially through, I listened to a lot of Dave Ramsey years ago, and I obviously listened to like other sources, but he was my big one where he kind of gave like not so much a strict percentage you should save, but just a rough ballpark idea of what percentage of your income you should be saving or investing, I should say. So I know his goal was, I believe it's 15% of your take home pay. Try to invest that or at least save that money. And I feel that's a perfectly fair range, especially, if you're a single guy in your 20s or a single girl in your 20s. If you're not paying crazy rent where you live, or you're in like a very high cost of living area. But I mean, yeah, try to, I mean, even if it's like 5 or 10% of your take home pay, just, I'd say your first goal is to, you know, kind of develop that emergency fund where, and depending on maybe like your job security, at least 3 months of expenses, just in case you were to get laid off, you know, that'll guarantee you, you know, 3 months of paying rent, buying groceries, you know, keeping the lights on wherever you're at, feeding yourself. You can go up to 6 months, you can go up to a year. Really all depends on like what you're comfortable with or what you're willing to kind of stash away. And like that, like I said, that emergency fund type account where you don't touch it unless, you know, as the name suggests, you know, there's an emergency. So, I mean, once you get like a 3 to 6 month emergency fund kind of set aside, and you don't really touch that money, you're not investing that money, that's just kind of money where, you know, like I said, shit hits the fan and, you know, you're able to pull that money out and, you know, survive for the next couple months. I mean, after you get emergency fund down, I would say, you know, the biggest thing I'm working on right now is kind of a mix. You know, I'm still investing, you know, I'm still investing a percentage of what my take home pay is into the stock market, mostly like S&P 500 or just overall like index funds that follow like the top stocks, the top 500 stocks in America, or international if you want. You know, I'm not too familiar with international index funds or stocks. I don't really follow international that closely. So, you know, I usually stick to kind of the United States stocks, but that's pretty much where I mostly put my money in when it comes to investing. Putting a little bit more away, kind of in like a high yield savings account for my ultimate time. You know, when it comes down to, you know, putting a down payment on a house. I don't really know when that will be, but, you know, starting to put a little more in. And another big thing is that at least I'm focusing on, and I recommend for you guys in your 20s. Or I mean 30s, whatever age, you know, whatever age range you watch this video, but especially my younger guys, try to avoid debt as much as possible. You know, if you can get some sort of financial aid, or if you can get some sort of scholarship, you know, when it comes to student loans, so you're not taking out huge loans and accruing just crazy amount of interest, you know, as you're paying off the loan. I know the used car market's kind of shitty right now. You know, prices are really high. It's almost like buying a new car, but try to avoid a car loan as well. You know, I did that back in 2021. You know, I ended up getting a car that was definitely out of my, you know, income range. But I mean, thankfully, you know, the monthly pay wasn't too horrible. So, or I should say, like, the monthly payments weren't too horrible. So, you know, I was able to afford that. But just overall, just kind of staying out of debt. And, you know, that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, I have a little under $4,000 left on my car loan, and then I'm done. And I fully own my car. So it's crazy to think about, like, where it started. I think when I bought my lease out, I had like, oh my God, like $17,000 left on the car. So crazy to think about, and just kind of hearing that I'm a little under $4,000 on it is pretty nice to hear. So I'm looking to kind of maybe hold off on investing, like maybe not invest as much these next couple months to be able to build up a good chunk of money to pay towards the principal of my loan. So I'm not having to pay as much interest on it, and so I can just get it paid off as quickly as possible. And then after that, you know, that'll free up, I think my car loan payment per month is like $420 around there. So that'll free up, you know, an extra $400 to $420 a month, where I can either invest that, or, you know, I can stick it in like a high yield savings account and just put that towards my stack of money that will eventually go towards, you know, a down payment on a house. So I mean, these are just my ideas around like what my game plan is, I guess, you know, whether it be like combination, you know, paying off my debt, investing, paying off, or I guess saving for a down payment on a house. And I say just overall, these are some of the suggestions I recommend to anyone who watches this video. I think it applies to anyone, but especially my guys and girls in their 20s who are just kind of starting out, who maybe a little nervous about getting into the real world, or starting to pay off their student loan debt after they get a job out of college, paying off a car loan that maybe they shouldn't have taken out, but I mean, it is what it is. We all need transportation at the end of the day. Possible credit card loans. I hope you guys aren't hope you guys aren't putting money on your credit card on a monthly basis where you can't pay it off and not accrue that interest rate. I hope you guys stay away from that, because that's a lot of money you're just throwing away because you can't afford to pay off your credit card on a monthly basis. So definitely keep those in mind, guys. Like I said, these are just ramble videos. I'm not really following a script on these last couple videos. Just kind of sending it, giving you guys my honest, raw thoughts. So that's pretty much my advice. Take out of it what you will, I suppose. If you didn't think it was good advice, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to interact with you guys and get your guys' thoughts and opinions. But as always, guys, I hope you guys have a good night, good rest of the week, good weekend, and as always, the lunch table out.